Live.
And Facebook.
Welcome to Monday Night Live.
The best night of the week.
With Dean Nixon, Kate Semmens, TurningLeaf Wellness Center in Southern Utah, St. George to be specific. It is so great to see you on this Monday night.
Yes, and spring is on its way. So
Thank
pretty
heavens.
excited about that.
Yes.
Yes.
Let the thaw begin. I think I'm grateful I'm not in Minnesota, Michigan, and some of those other states. So our hats are off and our hearts are with you. So
hang in there. Sunshine's coming.
Well, we're excited to get to our topic tonight. We're excited to move forward in the year with new topics. And tonight we wanted to talk about breaking through and overcoming the challenges and how to do that.
Yes. But before we do, I want to let you know that at the end of this video, we're going to be going over our next giveaway, which is kind of a big deal. So you're going to want to watch it all the way through to the end to be able to get the how-tos to enter that giveaway.
Or just forward to the end.
Yeah. Watch it. Watch what we got to
watch
say.
It. It'll be worth it. It'll be worth it.
So with this topic, Dean, how do you what are some of the objects that you think are in that you see a lot in coaching that get in people's way?
Well, and that's what I love about this topic is a lot of times when we get burdened down, we struggle with the challenges of life, and we really start to feel like it's hard to overcome. Mm-hmm. So the idea is if we can break them down into smaller pieces, break them down into pieces that we can work through. And this is what I like to do, especially in coaching, is sitting down with an individual and identifying what's really going on. And what I found is that we can break it into three essential parts. And the first part that we break it into is a riddle. So oftentimes life gives us riddles. They're challenges that we have to face. And if you've ever experienced these, as you and I both know,
yes,
they can be very, very challenging. They're simple things of life that come at us. And they're just solving or putting a puzzle together, trying to find the pieces to make something flow or to move it forward. Sometimes the riddle is just simply trying to understand what's holding us back from moving forward in a relationship, mm-hmm. or moving forward in life, or getting closer to our goals. But it's like finding a recipe. And so it's solving the riddle. The second piece that it breaks down and that I see people struggle with is enmeshments, where we become overly enmeshed in our lives with other people. Mm-hmm. And we become either too enmeshed in how they think about us, how they feel about us. Maybe we get too enmeshed in fixing them, solving their problems, trying to...
You looked at me because that's something I struggle with.
That was not intentional. Or we become overly enmeshed in their issues or their problems. We feel responsible for them. Or we feel other people are responsible for ours. Mm-hmm. So those enmeshments, in a way, oftentimes create more challenge, make it harder for us to move ourselves forward as well. The last one that I like to break them down into is the obstacles, the things that stand in our way from getting and moving forward into life the way we want to. And the thing that's interesting to me about it is that the obstacles themselves, sometimes they're obviously there for a reason. Some of them are self-created. Some of them are perceived and mm-hmm. not true. And then some of them are ones that we need to push through and really muscle through that obstacle. And so what I find is if we can break it down into these three basic pieces, we can really start to move that individual forward. And again, as you know, as a coach yourself, it is our goal. Our goal is to take you from where you are to where you want to be. And so when we break them down into these three areas, it makes it easier.
Right. So let's kind of maybe go a little bit more into then the good way to move through each one of these different things. So let's start back at the riddle. Okay. So if life has presented us with a riddle, the end goal is to solve said riddle, right?
Correct.
To be able to move forward. So
right.
that is the to-do list, is to solve the riddle.
Right. So, and what I find is one of the best ways to determine if it's a riddle is when you make this comment. I don't know how I'm going to. And if that's,
I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm so sorry. Would I can't fall into this? Like I can't blah, 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 even though somebody can do it. Or is that an obstacle? I'm sorry, I'm kind of jumping ahead.
you're okay.
I don't know kind of just triggers the I can't.
Yeah, the I can't is oftentimes going to be more connected to obstacles, because I can't do it because of this, I can't do it because of that, or enmeshments. But the riddle is going to be more along the I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to solve this. I don't know why this is. And when we get into that, that's usually an opportunity to step back and go, okay, this is a puzzle. This is a riddle for me. And I need to figure out the different pieces that fit here. And that's where really stepping back and solving the riddle, one of the things that is so important for us to recognize as human beings is there is a power, whether you believe in a higher power or universal energy or whatever it is, it's consistently trying to move you forward. Just like as a parent, we try to move our children forward. Oftentimes as a parent, I don't like to solve my children's problems, but I sure as heck like to give them hints. And if I can give them a hint as to how to move themselves forward, they do far much more better at getting where they want to go. So oftentimes these little riddles are hints and clues, but they usually start out with, I don't know, I can't see the answer, I don't know the answer. And so what we want to do with the riddles is we want to start to take the pieces of the riddles and start to really understand what they are. When I look at my riddle in fear, when I look at the riddle as in I can't, then I'm going to struggle. Then I'm going to challenge myself and I won't move forward. But if I can start to change the way I see the riddle and look at the riddle as, what am I learning from this? How is this slowing me down? How is this pushing me forward? How is this affecting me? Why is this bothering me? Then I start to pull the pieces of that riddle apart, and then I start to look for where they fit.
I was just thinking too, I think, at least in my perspective of reality, that riddles come at us all the time, right? Like if we're talking like a hierarchy of these three, I think riddles is just like boom, 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 a lot.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. I think that's the purpose of the riddle is to move you forward. So the enmeshments and the obstacles, they're out there as well. And yes, they're going to be a challenge for us all the time. But the riddles are what help us move through the enmeshments and the obstacles. Sometimes the riddle is the great unsolvable ones that we're working on for generations of time. And we see those riddles within families. But there are the pieces of the enmeshments and the obstacles that are also connected in that on that level.
Absolutely. So let's actually, one quick shout out. We did a live, I can't remember if it was last week or the week before, on moving with the flow of life and how life moves you forward. So if you missed that one, because this is a little bit of a piece to this riddles piece, go back and watch it. You can find it on our YouTube channel, or just go scroll back through Facebook, and you'll find that. So there was some really good information we went on that as far as the progression. So let's move on to enmeshments then. Oh, relationships.
You love this one.
I do love this one.
You love this one. Yeah, enmeshments are really intriguing to me. As I watch us as human beings, we are organically wired to crave relationships, you know. And you always hear me say, it's kind of funny, I always say the Beatles got it right, love is the answer, and it's love that holds us together. The reality is it's true. Love is what binds us together. It's what brings us together as communities. It's what makes us work and makes us tick. But oftentimes that love can create unhealthy enmeshment in our lives. Now connection and relationship, that's different than enmeshment. Enmeshment is when we have a hard time figuring out where we end and the other person begins. And a lot of those enmeshments come from enabling behaviors. A lot of those enmeshments come from codependent behaviors. They come from these things that have been proven through generations of time to be super unhealthy and corrosive in our lives. So what we can do with our enmeshments is we can start to step back and start to understand how we impact the relationships around us, and those relationships around us impact us. So sometimes it's a matter of sitting down and really just writing out, how does this relationship impact me? And how am I impacting this relationship? And then once I can do that, then I start to identify, well, what are the healthy parts of my relationship? What are the unhealthy parts of my relationship? Those unhealthy parts are going to be more of the enmeshment pieces.
So actually, I'm going to save that question for after we talk about obstacles, because I want to tie in the obstacle piece with it too. But when you're looking at maybe something that's holding you back in life and wondering how come I can't move forward, if it's another person involved, then obviously that's going to be not a riddle, but an enmeshment.
Correct. There are some pieces, however, where people can be a piece of your riddle, or they can be providing you pieces of your riddle.
I love that.
Yes.
But that would be healthy, right? If they're providing you pieces of your riddle.
Yeah, there are times in life where I've seen that people in our lives that challenge us, for example. So maybe you're having conflict with a coworker, and that's not an enmeshment, and they're not an obstacle. What it is it's a piece to the riddle. So you step back and say, well, why is this a coworker, affecting me? Why am I being upset? What is upsetting me about this piece? And when I can start to see that, then I can see that they are a piece of that riddle or a piece of that puzzle, but they're not an enmeshment, for example. Now, however, if I'm enabled by my boss, or I'm enabling my boss, now it's an enmeshment.
So when it's a lesson to be learned, then there's the riddle there. Okay, I love it. So let's talk about obstacles, because when you were explaining obstacles before, I was like, oh yeah, obstacles. These are the mountains that you're supposed to climb, right?
Yes, I love those. Obstacles are really challenging. Some of the things about obstacles that we have to recognize is some obstacles we're born with. Some of us are born into this world with certain physical attributes that may be a challenge to us. I know growing up with my challenges as a young man and now into adulthood, they're obstacles. And so now they become something that I have to learn how to work through. There are other things that can become obstacles. For example, in relationships, where we're moving forward in a relationship where maybe something is a reoccurring issue, or maybe a job is lost, or a physical issue arises, or health problems, and all these types of things start to become obstacles or challenges for us that we have to work very hard to find a way to move across the obstacle. This is the thing that's important for those of you out there that are going, oh my gosh, my life is one big obstacle. I've always loved getting involved with ropes courses out there. Ropes course type of experiential activities, they're super cool, but they really challenge you to have to think outside the box and become adaptive. And that's the thing. The obstacles in our lives are nothing more than teaching us to be adaptive. We've got to learn to be adaptable as a human being, but we don't always think about being adaptable. We think about, this thing's in my way, I don't like it, I'm going to go around it, I'm going to go under it, I'm going to try and go over it. But really, we have to learn to work through the obstacle so that we can move forward. And again, knowing, like with my obstacles as a young man growing up with the learning disabilities and dyslexia issues that challenged me and plagued me, and still do on a lot of levels, it was learning how to adapt and be adaptable that gave me the creativity and gave me the strength and gave me the tools that I needed to become successful in my life. If I didn't have the obstacles, they wouldn't have created the success in my life that I needed. And that's the other piece, is with the riddles, with the enmeshments, and with the obstacles, every single one of these things, we have to stop seeing them as a problem. We have to stop seeing them as, this sucks, it's horrible, it's miserable. The reality is they're there. So how are you going to face them? What attitude, what energy are you going to take? I know it's hard. I know things can really, really be rough. And every single one of us have our individual pieces.
That was what I was thinking of. Like, no one on the planet is exempt from these. No. Like, this is part of being human. So
yep.
Here we are.
Part of the process, part of the journey. And so, yes, okay, so it kicked you in the throat and it knocked you to your knees. But get up and start to work through. Is this a riddle? Is this a meshment? Is this an obstacle? Then each one of those, you have a piece that you just step forward and you apply the skill and you apply the tool. And if you need help, we're right here.
We would love to help you.
Yes.
I love that you brought up essentially that there's two different types of obstacles, right? Like one that you just need to get creative with and embrace and love as being a part of you, right? Like that's just a part of who you are. And then the ones that come in our way to help us grow and get better.
It helps you become successful when you challenge the obstacle. And the thing that's interesting to me, pardon me, is that we have worked so hard in our culture, in our society, to avoid obstacles, to do whatever we have to stay in our little comfort zones. And because our obstacles make us uncomfortable, our riddles make us uncomfortable. I don't want to have to think about it. I don't want to have to deal with it. I don't want to deal with these enmeshments. I don't want to deal with it. And so we find all these ways to numb out, all these ways to disconnect. We think they're solutions, but they're not.
Right.
They're not. They just prolong the pain. One of my favorite quotes, I wish I knew who coined it, what you resist will persist. I want to give whoever it is credit for that, but it's not mine.
Somebody Google it.
Somebody Google it.
And let us know.
Yes. But that's the big thing, is we have to stop resisting those things in our lives.
And it's interesting how when we do figure out our riddle, when we can like unwind some of our enmeshments and get over our obstacle, how that increases our self-worth, our self-love, our self-dignity, and it just gives us all the more confidence to be able to tackle the next one.
Oh yeah, it gives us so much more confidence to hold the space that we want in our world and stand our ground. The confidence level in standing your ground when you feel like I can do this. Because one of the biggest concerns I have is people think that this will end. Eventually it goes away. No, sorry. This is a process. It's a journey. The only difference is will you face the challenge with tools and move forward, or will you numb out and avoid and prolong the pain?
Right. Yes.
Those are your choices. So if we step up and we use the tools, we use the mechanisms, we grow in just phenomenal ways.
You know what? And it's okay to have like a day of like, screw it, I'm watching Netflix and eating Ben and Jerry's. And then you get back up.
Then you get back up.
And you crush it the next day.
There you go. There you go.
And that's real life.
It is real life. And there's nothing wrong with taking a knee. I think that's an important concept too. Yeah, we have to be okay with taking a knee and just taking a breath, taking a beat. And I will. I'll be the first to tell you, some days I just have to take a knee, and sometimes I'm like, I'm just going to bed. I don't care. It's like 7:30. I'm done.
Calling it.
Yeah, and that's okay. But the purpose in doing that isn't to just give up. That purpose in doing that is to catch your breath.
Right. So just to recap, if you're finding yourself a little stuck and having a hard time moving forward, analyze, is it a riddle? Is this something I'm supposed to figure out and work through? Do I need to look at my relationships? Maybe one of those is like kind of got me tied down, and figure that out. Or is it an obstacle? And with the obstacle, is it something that I am going to have for the rest of forever and I need to figure out how to live my best life with this thing, or how exactly to move through it?
And be adaptable. Yeah, absolutely.
I love it.
So hurry our giveaway. We're running out of time.
Okay. So here's our giveaway. Tomorrow, we will be posting a post on Instagram and in our story on Instagram that is going to tell you all about how you can win 2 seats in our upcoming Level 1 seminar. Not 1, but 2. So for you and a buddy, which...
That's pretty significant.
Forgive about it? Forget about it. It's pretty significant. That's like a $1,300, $1,400 value.
Yep.
So once again, if you don't follow us on Instagram, just look for TurningLeaf Wellness Inc., I think is what it is on Instagram. So make sure you go and follow us so that you can be sure to see our post tomorrow.
And if you don't have an Instagram, make one. There's no better reason than to follow us.
we love it. And so we will have the further details about how you can enter to win that 2-seat in our next level 1 seminar, which by the way is April 11th through the 13th. It's that
coming
weekend.
up.
It's coming up quick.
Yeah, and those of you out there need level 2, that one's coming up in a couple weeks.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Yes. Well, thank you all for tuning in. It's been amazing being with you Monday night live.
Yes.
Thank you, Kate, for being so amazing.
Thanks,
and
Steve.
being great. If you like the content, please like and share. We'd love to hear your comments as well. So thank you all, and have a wonderful Monday night, and enjoy the rest of your week.
Bye.